Gotta be true to yourself. In the world, there's nothing else. Gotta play the game right, gotta make your path. You scratch, you dig, you lay in your ground, you bustin' your rounds. Nobody gon' stop you. No ops, no cops, everything about you. Looking good, you good, she good. Y'all people really wanna know the reason? It's that ripple effect. That's just that ripple. That's just that ripple effect. What you do, come back triple.
Hey, what's going on? It's your girl Kid. I'm back in the Ripple Effect. You didn't know what it is, and you already know the vibe. Shout out to our subscribers. I appreciate y'all. Always gotta hit y'all up at the top of every show. If you're new to this, you're gonna hear it every time. My appreciation. I appreciate y'all. Listen, like, and subscribe. If you're new, keep rolling with me. Like I said, we're gonna have some special things coming. Cause listen, holidays are coming fast and furious. So keep listening. We're gonna start doing some giveaways sooner than later. You know, I already started doing some, you know, from last year, you know, so it's gonna be better this year, I promise you. As the show grows, things just, you know, kind of keep coming along. But anyway, as you see, you know, I'm rocking the Giants gear. I know I haven't been rocking my Giants gear in a while because, you know, not that I'm one of those fans that kind of dip in and dip out, even though I kind of am. But I just have faith right now because I'm loving the way Saquon's playing. I love the way our defense is playing. I'm loving the way, you know, Tyrod Taylor is playing. You know, even though we're probably only going to have him from this game, and Danny Dimes is probably going to be back in it. But I do like this matchup. I do like this matchup for the Jets and for the Giants because honestly, is it really important for the Giants? Probably not, because I don't really have faith in the rest of our season when it comes to playoff contention. Nobody's talking about us, and it's for a reason though. To be honest with you, if I'm being, you know, completely objective, why? There's too many other teams within our division that's already trouble. So to talk about anything outside of that, it's just, you know, but we still got games to play, and we'll see what happens. Because I know a lot of people already threw up their hands, you know, with our season. I mean, even the first game, right? I mean, how could you not, right? But this is more of a statement win. I mean, more for the Jets. The Jets definitely need this win before we can even really think about it. Why? Because they're the ones who is actually playing for something. They're the ones who came out in the beginning with all this hype, you know, and Hard Knocks. They came out with all this pressure, and yeah, Aaron Rodgers went down 4 plays, and we know this already. But Zach Wilson, they wrote him off, and they're still thinking about that defense. They're still thinking about, you know, Wilson at the receiver position, you know, transcendent type of player, a playmaker. But if he's not giving the ball, man, I mean, you're not really going to be able to see all his abilities. I mean, that's what guys like, you know, Devontae Adams was complaining about, you know, over in Vegas. You know, if you're one of those all-world type guys, you know, and you're just not getting the touches, the receptions, you know, you're not being put in these positions to be successful. And I believe Claypool was also talking about that, and I kind of talked his way out of, you know, was it the Bears, but he talked himself into the Dolphins, which is a great situation for him, you know. So sometimes talking do work. But yeah, as you can see, so it's like when it comes to the Jets, and I know a lot of people were asking about Dalvin Cook, and yo, is he gonna get any burn? Like, is this guy really gonna be, you know, who we expected him to be? You know, I mean, I know it was, you know, in conjunction with Aaron Rodgers, and you know, and then you have Breece Hall. You know, he came back off of injury, and he was balling out. And I know it's supposed to be that two-headed monster. You got Breece Hall in the backfield, and you have Dalvin Cook. Like, we ain't got to worry about Zach Wilson messing up the game. Like, you know what I mean? If we stay steady and we rely on our defense, and we rely on our run game, and we control the possessions, come on, man. You controlling the clock. You know what I mean? That's like ball game, right? But unfortunately, it's not that simple because we don't know exactly what the game plan is. We just know Dalvin Cook ain't out there like we kind of expected him to, and we don't know if he's going to be a bargaining chip, meaning when the trade deadline, we just don't know. There's certain things we're privy to, and there's other things we're not. So sometimes you can kind of just, you know, use, you know, educated guess to try to sit there and think like, what is something that they might want to get, you know, in return, you know what I mean? Like, when it comes to a Dalvin Cook, and I don't know. I mean, I don't think they're looking for any picks. Maybe they are, maybe they aren't. Maybe they're thinking about next season because Aaron Rodgers is doing so much work off the crutches. You know, see a brace, you see him throwing the ball around. And who also knows what he's doing? Like, right? He's just defying the odds because everybody had him written off for the season. And he's trying to come back maybe before the playoffs, around the playoffs. The point is, they haven't given up hope yet. You know what I mean? And they haven't given up hope even on next season if that's, you know, something that they're looking at, you know, to kind of shore up that offensive line. So who knows? Who knows what they're trying to do and what they're trying to figure out. The point is, the Jets need this win more than the Giants. But I have the Giants winning because I like the momentum that we're on. I feel like a game can carry over to the next game, to the next, and to the next. I feel like we've learned a lot of hard lessons in the very, very beginning. You know, Dable, he's transcended the Giants culture. I mean, you've seen what the Giants were like the last couple seasons, and I know a lot of Giants fans kind of already just like, it doesn't even matter. And you know what? It still does. You know, it still does. You still want to be building on something. You know what I mean? You want to be realistic. You want to manage your expectations. We're not sitting here saying that we're going to beat the Eagles and we're going to do this and we're going to do that. You know, you do want to, you know, kind of taper them off a little bit, but at the same time, you just never know with these teams, and injuries play a big part in it. I mean, a lot of people had the 49ers even last year, but nobody knew they were going to lose like 3 quarterbacks in one game. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like, or 4, you know, it's like you just never know where this is going. And I said this was going to be super quick, and I obviously lied. So I'm going to run down the list and give you my picks real quick. So we said the Falcons and the Titans. Like, I don't have any faith in the Titans, so that's why I'm picking the Falcons. The Steelers and the Jags, I mean, Trevor Lawrence, you just never know. He is one of those players that you're still kind of waiting to really see what they can, you know what I mean? You're still kind of, I'm going with the Steelers. Why? Because, I mean, between Matt Canada, you know, getting all that heat, their offense coordinator, and Tomlinson, and listen, Thompson, like, they love this coach. Like, Mike, like, I love him, and I'm not even a Pittsburgh Steelers fan. You ain't gonna see me in no terrible towel, you know, like, that's just what it is. But you love the winning culture. You love how this man has never had a losing season, you know. But after a while, fan bases are getting tired of that 8-8. Like, you know, they're getting tired of that. You know what I mean? Like, that just making the cut. You know, they're ready to move on. You know, I get it. I mean, when you think about their history and what they're used to winning. So I get it. I think the Steelers are going to turn it around. I think they're figuring it out. You know, Pickett to Pickens, right? I mean, that connection is crazy. That was like a Matt Stafford and Cooper Kupp, you know, type of connection. You know what I mean? Like we were looking at when the Rams were going on their run, and we'll get to them later. The Texans and the Panthers. You got CJ Stroud, man. Oh, excuse me. The way he's playing as a rookie. That's crazy. That's crazy. And Bryce Young, I know the Panthers head coach, I feel sorry for them because they got to sit there and answer these questions. Like, are you sure you got the right guy? You know, I mean, honestly, sometimes I don't think you really know sometimes. I mean, these many games in, I mean, I get it. You know, I mean, you want a guy to be balling out like CJ Stroud. you want that. Like, that's the idea. Like, you draft a guy, you hire a guy, especially that high in the draft. What was he, like, 3rd? You know, he was behind, you know, Young. So at the same time, you're kind of like, same position. You know, you sure you got the right guy? Or it's just, or also it's a system thing too. Let's not forget that. A guy has to be put in the right position that fits his game, that, you know, kind of, you know, plays to his strengths in a sense. So we're not going to go on that, but that is going to be a fun game to watch the 2 rookies go up against each other, just a few draft picks apart. And I think the Panthers are probably still wondering whether, you know, Young was the right pick, you know, for a first overall pick. I mean, let's just be honest. I mean, that's just human instinct. I mean, he can completely turn into this transcendent player that we're all just like, whoa, like a Kyler Murray type. But we don't know. And so far, it's not looking like it. So we got to just go off what we're going off of, right? So you have the Colts and the Saints. I'm going with the Colts. Saints, I know they have Olave, and I'm looking at what they got going on, but I don't see it. I don't see it. That could be a close game, though. I'm not even gonna sit there and act like that's gonna be a runaway game. the Dolphins and New England Patriots, you know, you got a divisional game, you know, it's going to be interesting. I know Belichick just got his 300th win. Not really celebrating that because it's not exactly the season you want to be celebrating that in. But Mac Jones is kind of just starting to come into his own. At least we hope that he's going to be going on that incline and not, you know, have us wondering what has been going on. I think he had such a bad season last year that it definitely it definitely carried over. And you don't want to say that because I know a lot of people say that every season's different, and that can be true. Like, two things can be true at the same time. Like, sometimes a season is different, you know, last season is different from this season, and sometimes you can have that carryover, like whether it's good or bad, like that can happen. And I don't know if kind of Mac Jones was kind of suffering from that, and now all of a sudden it's like halfway through the season he's kind of getting it and kind of you remember he's got new coaches, man, new offensive coordinator. Like, people don't appreciate that. Like, they just want to see wins, and they don't understand what it takes to win. And sometimes there is a process that you may or may not like that comes along with that. And I do have the Dolphins winning that game. Yeah, is Belichick gonna find some ways to try to neutralize Tyreek Hill? I mean, yeah, he's a defensive guru. That's kind of what he does, right? But at the same time, you got Waddle, you got Mostert. I mean, these guys, and now they got Claypool. I think it's just gonna be too much to stop. And Tua, you already know what kind of tear he's on, and Jalen Ramsey's back for the Dolphins. I think it's going to be too much, and people are definitely going to want to show out for his game, you know, for him coming through. And, you know, he's still got a lot to prove. I'm sure he's not going to want to push it too much. You're just coming back from injury. You know, you've been out for a while, and you got to get acclimated to the speed and everything else. So that's going to be interesting to watch, though. I mean, again, I don't think this is going to be like a 70-point game, but Dolphins going to come out on top. Chiefs and Broncos. I think Patrick Mahomes has like 12 straight victories over the Broncos, and you already know what type of season that the Broncos will be winning, even though that would be a heck of a statement for the Broncos to go into the Chiefs and be like, yo, you know what I mean? Like, that would be crazy, because it doesn't even matter. I know a lot of people are like, but, you know, I don't, Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce, man, I mean, these dudes, and just the way guys have kind of elevated, you know, to this position, you know, Tony, the way he stepped up, and I know in the beginning he wasn't playing all that well, but that wasn't gonna last forever. I mean, Andy Reid and the boys, they got it figured out. I know a lot of people were saying that Eric Bieniemy, when he had left and went to the Commanders, you know, to be an OC there, if there was some drop off, and that, no, there's always gonna be some adjustment. There's always going to be some adjustment, and that's not to take away from Eric Bieniemy and saying that he didn't have a lot to do with their success. I'm sure he did, but at the same time, you're talking about Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes, you know, Travis Kelce, the core guys, and then that's the offense. The defense, the way the defense is stepping up, you know, with Chris Jones and them boys, man, the defense is real. Even out there in the back, the DBs, Broncos don't have a chance. I would like to see them step up, though. I want to see a game, you know, between the Ravens and Cardinals. Ravens are on a tear. I think Lamar Jackson has figured it out in terms of trusting the offensive line, staying in the pocket, being that Action Jackson, knowing when to run. I told you OBJ is getting into the mix slowly but surely. A lot of people don't believe me. A lot of people just think he wants to just hang it up, or they think he should just hang it up. No. I'm telling you, they're preserving him for a reason. All we can do is wait and see. Well, I mean, only one of us are going to be right. I mean, at the end of the day, we just got to wait and see. But Zay Flowers, I love the way these guys are. I mean, you know, Andrews, I would say Mr. Andrews. Why? Because, you know, it's an inside joke. But unreliable, you know what I mean? He's one of those guys in that tight end that it just gets it done, man. On third down, you know, when you need that touchdown, you just need those couple extra yards just to get some momentum on the offense, or just to keep the drive going, because you're trying to keep control the possession. You want to control the clock. Like, a lot of people don't understand that. Like, you understand that if you control the clock, you know, you control your possessions. Like, that matters, man. You get other guys out of rhythm. You get the other offense out of rhythm. you get their defense tired. Like, all that stuff matters. And after a while, you know, you do run out of plays, you know, too. So there's a lot of things that come with that. But, you know, I'm picking the Rams for that. We already talked about the Giants, Rams, and Cowboys. Ooh. See, this is big. This is big. Why? Because the Cowboys, they do have Super Bowl aspirations. I think that's every single season. I think that's also why we talk about them as much as we do. And by we, I don't mean me, because I really don't talk about them that much, but I mean we as like the sports media space, whether new media, old media, I don't know, whatever you want to call it. We're still trying to figure out that defense. I know a lot of people, you know, I think people are starting to really realize, like really understand Trayvon Diggs, like his impact on defense. I think people just thought it was just, you know, Michael Parsons and Lawrence and all these other guys. Like, I just think that, no, it was a collective, you know what I mean? And I think they're really starting to understand that. And on offense, yeah, you can blame, I know, easy target is always Dak, right? It's Dak's fault, it's this, it's that, you know, even though he's not really known for throwing interceptions like that. It was just one bad season last year and played less games, and I mean, that could be attributed to a lot of different things, right? You know, right now it seems that all attention seems to be on Dak. Nobody's really talking about Mike McCarthy and, you know, and his play calling. Because remember, he said he's controlling it. You know what I mean? He doesn't want these guys scoring too much, or I don't know what that was even about. Obviously, he was misquoted. It's probably just misunderstood. But at the same point, he's just talking about he wants to control the clock, like kind of like we were just talking about in the previous, you know, segment. Like that. That's really what it's about. Controlling the clock, and that's how you're gonna be able to get things done. Come on, man. Come on, guys. But I have the Rams winning it. Why? Because like when I was talking about with the Steelers and, you know, Pickett to Pickens, I think Matthew Stafford and you got Cooper Kupp back, guys. You don't understand. Like, that offense is really starting to pick it up and really starting to get it. And we already know on the defensive end, you know, Aaron Donald, and we already know what it is over there. But on the offensive end, a lot of people have forgotten. I mean, that is such a valuable, you know, tool. You know, when you know that you on third, you know, whether it's third and short, third and long, and you got Cooper Kupp, man, and it's just that connection, that chemistry, that system. You know, that's why I'm picking them. I think it's going to be a good game. It's going to be a high pressure, high stressful game, mainly for the Cowboys. Rams, I think if they lose that game, I mean, most people are going to say, well, Dallas is just more talented. But at the end of the day, you got to play the games, right? I mean, it don't, you know, that don't matter. It's any given Sunday. Let's go. I'm picking the Rams on that one. This one you have the Eagles and Commanders, right? Commanders. I don't want to go too hard. I got family members that. But come on, man. Like, I'm not even gonna say anything. It's the Eagles. All right. So the Vikings and the Packers. I know a lot of people want Jordan Love going. And you gotta give these guys time, man. Like, I know he's followed up 2 Hall of Famers. Like, we already know between Brett Favre and Aaron Rodgers. Like, that's a tough act to follow, right? That fan base is real, y'all. I mean, even when I was out there in UK, and I was at this bar before the game, and you had the cheesehead section. Like, they had on cheeseheads, like, in a whole section. Like, the fan base is real. They want to win. When they come from a winning culture, I understand. These are growing pains of what Jordan Love is going through. And it's not just him, man. It's the receivers. Aaron Rodgers told y'all about the receivers last year. So now we're going to sit there and act like, you know, Jordan Love's the problem. Like, come on. You got to put things into perspective. Aaron Rodgers was having a hard time with that same group last season. Do y'all not remember that? When we were saying the Green Bay Packers ain't this, they ain't that. And we were talking about how Aaron Rodgers was throwing the young guys under the bus because they weren't running the right routes, or they weren't doing this, they weren't doing that. And all of a sudden, Watson came out of nowhere because he's fast, and all of a sudden he started to get it, and you could tell he was running the right routes and understanding and having that connection with Aaron Rodgers and trying to figure it all out. You don't remember all that? Yeah, so maybe, you know, these guys are young, so maybe they didn't, you know, I'm not gonna say they didn't believe in Jordan Love, but let's just be for real. Like, he don't have the cachet that Aaron Rodgers have. Like, he don't have that connection, that command, you know, yet. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not saying he's gonna get it because we don't know. That remains to be seen. But I'm just saying, if Aaron Rodgers was complaining about it, and so much so that I mean, the frustrations bubbled over into where he was telling it in the media, like saying it in the media, because he wanted the guys to hear, because he wanted to put them on blast and put them on notice. I mean, come on, man. I mean, I have the Vikings for that reason, not because I think Kirk Cousins and them boys are going to turn this season around, and they are without Justin Jefferson, and they still got the win last week, and that was pretty impressive. But at the same time, they're going up against the Packers, who are still trying to figure it out. That could be a good game too, because when these teams are both figuring out and they're still trying to, understand how things are working, and Kirk Cousins is actually playing pretty well. So I know a lot of people, don't want to mention that, but he's playing pretty well, guys. So give him his respect. The Browns and the Seahawks. This was a hard one, right? Because Geno Smith, man, the way he's been playing, it's been incredible. And sometimes I hate it because I'm like, what would have happened when McAdoo put you in, and there was all this controversy because Eli, he had to break his, his streak and, putting him in. And imagine if Geno was playing the way he's playing now for the Giants back then. And we'd be having a whole different conversation about the Giants right now. I can guarantee that. But that's just not the way life works. So Geno Smith is playing for the Seahawks, and he's doing a great job. But I don't know. I feel like, I don't know, man. It's so hard to kind of go up against, the Browns defense and what they're doing. I mean, obviously with the offense, and there's a lot of question marks. They just signed, was it PJ Walker? Because with the whole Deshaun Watson, we're not sure about that shoulder and whether he's going to keep playing. And there's a lot of uncertainty with that. And it was so smart of them to get Kareem Hunt, and Kareem Hunt is out there doing this thing. That was brilliant. But I don't know, man. I don't know. But I'm picking the Browns for sure, because that defense is the 49ers and the Bengals. See, this is going to be a good one too, because Joe Burrow is saying that his calf is 100%. He's good. He's ready to go. But yet we don't see the Bengals of what we're accustomed to, of what we're used to. I mean, definitely Jamar Chase, right? He's 7-11, always open. He needs more touches. You gotta get that guy back in the mix. Especially when you need it the most. Let's say if he can, you need that timely touchdown. That off the goal ball, like, because Jamar can get after it, man. Like he's the best in the league, but if you're not getting the touches, you're not getting the reps, everybody's looking at stats, so they'll see the stats, and if you're not up there with everybody else, then your name just don't even get mentioned, and I can understand why that frustration of him saying he's always open, where that comes into play. But the 49ers, man, Brock Purdy's playing. I told you he was gonna play. I knew he wasn't. I mean, come on, man. This guy has way too much, to still prove to you guys and also his team that he belongs, and he's not Mr. Irrelevant. Even though he's already proven that, but there's a lot of unfinished things, and right now Deebo Samuel's not playing, and I know they can't afford that. So I know he's doing everything he can to make sure he solidifies his spot, in that Kyle Shanahan offense, which has him balling and looking like a superstar. And I know they were made to look human, but I did pick the 49ers in this game over the Bengals, because the 49ers still, they up there. And we don't need to talk about Joey Bosa and all that. You already know what there is. I'm sorry, Nick Bosa. The Bosa brothers. What are you going to do? I mean, you know what I mean? The Bosa guys, either... Well, speaking of the other Bosa, Chargers and Bears. Not exactly the game that you want to follow up on a Sunday night. That's probably when I'll be switching back and off to some basketball. Justin Fields is out. I know Bears are winning right now, and that could be an excuse for the Bears to kind of just be moving on from Justin Jefferson with the thumb injury, knowing that he's going to be out for a while. That's an unfortunate situation. It may work out better for just like when I was talking about the last episode and how trades can help players too. It's not just about the organization. I don't whether or not Justin Fields wants to leave The Bears, I don't know. But to me, it doesn't look like he's having fun. It doesn't look like this is the way, you know, they wanted to start things off. You know, they gave me DJ Moore. I mean, we thought that that was going to be like the team to watch, and that is nowhere near the case, right? So the Chargers, on the other hand, I know a lot of people blame Brandon Staley about what's going on when it comes to a lot of the play calling, and a lot of people still have a lot of faith in Justin Herbert, and as well as you should. I mean, why wouldn't you? And that's why I have the Chargers winning this game, because of Justin Herbert. That's pretty much, I mean, the defense as well, but that's mainly the reason, because the Bears have too much going on, and I'm just gonna leave it like that, because at the end of the day, where are the Bears going this year versus the Chargers? I think that just the Chargers have more to lose if they lose this game. So these are one of these games that they have marked on the schedule that should be a win, and we'll see what happens. And you already know, this has been Kdots Sunday Picks, and I appreciate you guys for listening, appreciate you guys for watching, and you know, I only ask y'all to remember one thing. This goes on for anybody in their life, no matter where you're at. Losses equals life lessons.
Gotta be true to yourself. In a world there's nothing else. Gotta play the game right, gotta make your path. You scratch, you dig, you lay in your ground, you bustin' your rounds. Nobody gon' stop you. No ops, no cops, everything about you. Looking good, you good, she good. Y'all people really wanna know the reason? It's that ripple effect. That's just that ripple. That's just that ripple effect. What you do, come back.